Yeah man, sanibonani bakwethu. Tsaba ayalewo amlak heruse kema nkamun silo samanzi uzinyo lengwenya. Uchaya ingumbono ukuthi uMandlana udla umvubu ukhipha utyede. Sinqwazi semfene. Bayede emampandleni. Inzala amabhele le madoda okhubona omafo ngwenya udlambulo onombikazi ondaba ezitha omabongwana zigusha omnomana. Impundu zingazingangiwa. Bakwethu, I'm back here today. Ningamangali la madoda ngirelaxisile namhlanje udlamini wonke lo. Ngizobe ngiswinka ke namhlanje. But I'm here with ubaba uNtshebe lo. Uzozichaza yena ngoba mina ngizosuka ngimbize ngosibusiso kanti umthokozisi yena. Ngicela ukukwamukela my brother.
Ngiyabonga ngiyabonga mntana. Njengoba usushilo ke ngcono ngiyichaze umthokozisi lona igama lami engaziwa ngalo ekhaya kodwa abantu abaningi la einkundleni zethu zokuxhumana bangazi nguNdukuzamandebele.
Ndukuzamandebele.
Yeah.
Ungawashayi phela.
uNdukuzamandebele igama i-nickname kababa.
Okay.
I-nickname ende ebeyishortnisa igama nalo elide. Igama likababa uShinduke ebandla. Unduku beka lapho manje bam-eda ke uNdukuzamandebele. Right.
Ngase ngiya induku ebandla.
Shinduke ebandla.
Ubaba lo.
Ushinduke ebandla ubaba. Uyishile ke induku ebandla ubaba.
Insizwa ke leyo.
Hayi insizwa ke leya. Umndeni wakithi mkhulu kanje ngenxa kababa ngoba wayishiya induku ebandla esewuhlanganisile wonke umndeni. Right. Umndeni wakithi mkhulu nje unje ngenxa kababa nalabo balahleka wabathatha wababungaza wasondeza sonke. Ngalithanda ke legama ngingazi nokuthi ngilithandiswa yini ngathi awuthi ngiyibize ngalo kanti vele benginama daddy issues. Kwatholakala ukuthi inkinga kanti bekuyimina ebengicabangela phambili ngokungazi kwami ngicabangela ubaba ngiyitshela ukuthi ubaba wangenza kanje na kanje. Kuthe izinto mazenzakala kumina ngase ngiyakhula ngabona ukuthi ubaba wayengenzi ngamabomu. Right.
Ungilimazile ngalento oqeda ukuyisho.
So ngase ngiyibiza ke
asingasheshi sidlule.
Right.
Asingasheshi sidlule. Uthi. And I want to emphasize this not only for you.
Right.
Not only for me. Not only for udlamini lo. Ngoba ngiyazi nayo nalenkinga. I want to emphasize it for man, 82% of South Africans statistically are raised in homes without their fathers. 82% of Black South Africa. That's a sad statistic. Now, I love what you said, Uguti. Yes, I had daddy issues, but ekukhuleni kwami, I realized that all the fingers I was pointing to this man were things I was creating in my own head.
Of course.
It had nothing to do with him.
No.
And Bagwe, to this one thing is the one thing that is making so many people bazondo bababo.
Yeah.
Hate their fathers, blame their fathers for things that they don't even know about. So I love that realization, and I'm speaking this from a healer's perspective. Bagwetu, xolelani baba benu, please forgive your fathers. Remove the stories you've told yourselves about these men and take the men for who they are, with their faults and mistakes. God knows how many mistakes you've made. But that's a good point to start. Realizing that it's the stories that I created in my own head about this man.
Right. It is these stories that make up who we think we are, while the person that we are sits and waits for you to realize
while the person you are usile wena nimthatha lo mfana ho.
So lo ekumele athathe the driver's seat umele wena urealize ukuthi ungubani ngempela. And this is the one thing esibambezelayo, is because we are attached to the things we are not more than the things we are.
We are attached to the things more than to who we are.
Yes.
Hayi man, wemalika yayizwa le ndoda ithini? Yayizwa le ndoda ithi we are attached to our cars, we are attached to our salaries, we are attached to our clothes, we are attached to things more than we are attached to who we are.
Yeah.
Uke wayibuza le nto uJet, yakhumbula sihleli la noNovuka athi, who were you before you were told who you are?
Which is the biggest thing. And ngiyayithanda leyo question because my biggest thing was about women's rights. So I said the other day to a woman, women's rights are the most childish, nonsensical, useless things that women could have ever gotten. No, hear me out. It is the most stupidest thing a woman could ever fall for, because number one, women's rights. What did you have as a woman before you had women's rights? So you had no rights. So you waited for someone to be told. You waited for someone to tell you that you had human rights before you knew you had human rights, or women's rights. Basically, what did we have as women before we were told by a man? Amadoda siyahluleka ukunderstanda abafazi bethu sihlala nabo. We then can legislativize a law or laws or statutes that that are there to govern women.
Wentombi, uyayizwa le ndoda ithini? Ummamele uthi anina rights. Nani before niba nama rights.
So it is I don't know how to even put this in better words.
Let me agree with you on that. Without specifically saying women's rights, I want to go to human rights.
Hundreds.
The Bill of Rights, the human rights, whatever you want to call it, is a fiction that can never be realized practically.
Of course.
So it's legislated ideas that can never reach the general public in terms of practicality. I don't believe in rights.
Me neither.
Your question is, what did we have before we were told we have rights? I believe we had humanity. We had common sense. We had natural intelligence.
Yes.
We had natural ability.
Yes.
We had functional communities.
Yes.
We had functional structures in those communities. Women had their place in communities. Mm-hmm. Men had their place in communities. Children had their place in communities. Elders had their place in organized communities.
We had integrity.
When I was isilungu, man.
We had integrity. When I said ngizofika ilanga besingenasikhathi, ilanga lingaka khwezi le yantaba ngiyafika. Because we understood
African time.
Namhlanje is African time. Which
time.
Is a misunderstanding of concept, because we understood time in terms of nature. Therefore, also more than that, we understood time in terms of when the time was right. So we did things according to oscillations and understanding of all of that chemistry and how we fit into the greater scheme of things. When the time is right, I will be there. And when the time is right is when that sun is heading above the tree towards just before it
peaks the mountain.
It peaks, yes, I'll be there.
Time. Little boxes moved by time. Little boxes moved by time. Little boxes moved by time, each in a particular direction, with no reason, with no rhyme. Little boxes moved by time. Are you on time, in time? Hey, mamelana, we calculate time in numbers. And
Right.
kula ngukufuna khona.
100%.
Uthe wena uyabala wena. You are a counter.
Ngiyabala.
We arithmetician.
Right.
Right. Uyabalabala umthetho wakho uzwile ukuthi abafazi abanama rights. Let's get to numbers.
Right.
0 up to infinity. That's what we were taught at school. You count from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000 to a million to a trillion to a billion, trillion, zillion,
Gazillion.
and these quintillion.
Yes.
And then uye uzufike ke kuma illion. Mamela, you say you count numbers.
Yes.
How many numbers are there in the numerical system? Ngikade ukubalela mina ama illion.
Yes.
Wena uthini?
Human beings believe that there are many numbers, yet there are 9 numbers. I'm wrong and I'm right at the same time. Because I was correct, why I'm wrong, right at the same time. The reason why there are 9 numbers, or the reason why we say and we were taught that there are 9 numbers, is because every number repeats. Right. So we have 1, which repeats into 11, then 12. All of those numbers have 1 until 19. Then we have 20, which repeats until 29, 30, and so on. And every number is a repetition of every other number within the 9 numbers. But we forget one number. The reason why we forget this number is because we were pushing, and because this is a man's world, we were pushing ubudoda, kahle kahle. Kunokuthi sipushe irrealism. We were pushing the number 1 being the first number, because number 1 is the whole. But we forgot that there's a number that gave birth to number 1, which is feminine, which is a 0. I like the fact that you said 0 and then you said whatever. Right. So in numbers, people don't recognize is 0 as a number. And if you've had a cousin, if you're a cousin, as a 20.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
1 lighter.
Yes.
Put 0 lighter.
0 is the giver of the is the birth giver of the lighter.
This lighter was made by Bic, so it's Bic 0.
0 as a number 1 as a partaker into the physical world was given entry by the number 0, which in this case we are talking about 1 lighter. So the lighter does not exist, but how many of them are there is what exists basically, or is what we look at. Not the construct of what it is, the construct of how many of those things are there.
Uyang Einstein Dlamini uyambona. Ufuna ukungilimaza psychology. You are telling me that now the number 0 manguzwa is that which gave birth to the 1.
Yes.
So 1 being the masculine, the 0 being the feminine. So the feminine comes before the masculine.
The feminine comes before the masculine. Always. And
in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and He saw that it was good.
Yes.
And He rested. Where was she?
The reason why the Bible is written in He is because when Black people first wrote the Bible, they would look at their lookalike, their physique, their phenotype, and then Jesus was Black. But when the white people wrote the Bible, Jesus was white. Therefore, if males wrote the Bible, God would be a male. And therefore,
politika le ndoda le.
and but if we understand God as a duality, as a non-gender based thing, and that even though number 1 is masculine and number 0 is feminine, it is feminine in the sense that it is the primordial force that gives birth.
It is the potential.
Yes, it is the super potential of potentials. So without the giver of, it is the no thing that people speak about, where everything comes from, basically. So the no thing gives birth to everything. Therefore, how we know about this is when we look at how telephones work, how TVs work, computers is using zeros and ones.
The binary code.
The only thing that is tricky about understanding this thing is that when you look at ones and zeros, or the existence of zeros and one, is that as much as the 0 is giving birth to the 1, the 0 needs the 1 to exist. Sorry. The 0 needs the 1 to exist for it to also exist. So it's a duality that exists, and in a space-time where we can't even fathom the existence of someone. How do two things exist when the other one gives birth to the other? So in spiritual terms, there's a lot of things we can't fathom and get to understand. Because as much as 0 is the birther of all, the all needs to exist inside the 0 to be given birth to.
Yamus, Uyang Einstein. All right. Let's see if I understand you. 0 is the infinite.
Yes.
Potential of all potentials.
Yes.
It is where 1 pre-exists its manifestation.
Yes.
So 1 was there in 0.
Yes.
As much as 9 was there in the 0.
Yes.
And 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4. Without that 0, 9 wouldn't exist.
Of course.
Without that 1, the 0 could not have been.
No.
What you are saying is existence comes from pre-existence.
Yes.
Within itself.
Yes, sir.
The Father and the Son, the Father is in the Son and the Son is in the Father. The
Yes.
Father and the Son are one.
Yes.
I pre-existed my fathers, although they gave birth to me.
Of course. That's what we call the paradox of existence.
That's the secret of immortality.
That's the secret. And basically, what? Lento yamanamba. This is what all Koko Betu used to know, used to understand. And this is what they measured things with. This is how they were so artistic. This is how they could create things. They did not need all of these instruments that we have today to create, basically. They create things and things come forth. They call upon things and things happen. And especially this number, that is the number 6, basically. Abo number 6, baze babizwe abathakathi, because when they speak something, 2 weeks is too much food. Athi number 6 umekwatela athi I wish ungafaka kabuhlungu bese umuntu wakhona 2 weeks ago ifamily yamngcwaba bese bathi ayibona uyathakatha. Kanti no, number 6 is the number that has the superpower of creation.
Bo number 6 ngiyanicela tu, I'm sorry. Bonke number 6 emhlabeni, I'm sorry.
So we need to understand these things also because biblically they are there. This is why number 6 is the number of creation. This is why everything was created for 6 days, and the seventh day was the day of the perfection of what was created. Therefore, the number 8 in numerology is what we call the number of the birth giver. No one calls it that. I call it that, but the materializer. So now the child is getting given birth to, because after 6 steps, the child was perfect. And now he's kicking around in stage 7. This is where he's practicing, because number 7 is about perfection. So you practice makes perfect. 100%. This is why also in the Bible, there's a perfection modality when it comes to the 7th step, basically. And then number 8 gives birth. So number 8 represents that womb. That is the number 0 plus another 0. The other 0 represents the physicality, when the other 0 represents the primordial force that exists, that gives birth, or that is incubating all of these numbers before they are given birth, basically. So it is like
it's
this.
the womb within the womb.
Yes.
Because from your mother's womb, you come out into the womb that is the world.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Right. So how do we prove that this is true? How can we make sure that all of these numbers say, or let's say numbers say what they say. But how can me and you say, yeah, man, it makes sense that they say what they say? Because also in the Bible, it is the same thing. Number 1 represents faith. Because as much as it's difficult for us to be able to do this, if you can put yourself in the shoes of a sperm, which represents the masculine principle,
The one.
which is the number 1, basically. What we then have is that when the sperm leaves the male, the sperm gets into the woman, and this is a whole different environment where a sperm is in the dark. It doesn't know where it's going, but it keeps on going. And it's a hostile environment with these secretions and that secretion. So the sperm needs to be resilient and keep on going. It doesn't know what it's going to find, but it keeps on going. Therefore, if you were to put yourself in that sperm's shoes, you need to have a serious faith for you to go somewhere, not knowing what is otolani, what to. So number 1 means faith. The evidence of things unseen. That is it. Because you are saying lapha lang yakhona kunento engimele. Ayibona uyazi nokuyazi ukaze futhi watshelwa nangayo kodwa there's a certain level of understanding and kumele. So the sperm never loses its mandate. This is why people born on the 1st must understand what their mandate is, physically, spiritually.
People born on the 1st.
People born on the first, which makes also people born on the 10th, people born on the 19th, people born on the 28th. Why? Because 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 10 is 1. 2 plus 8 is 10 is 1. And that's it.
Okay. So, singabantu la emhlabeni, what you are saying is there are 9 types of people in the world.
Yes. Yes.
There's only 9 of us in this world.
There's only 9 of us in this world.
We have your 1s, your 2s, your 3s, your 4s, your 5s, your 6s, your 7s, your 8s, and your 9s.
Yes.
Who? Dlamini, konje uzalwa nini? Ilanga. 28. So you're a 1. You must know your mandate, my nigga. You are mandated. You are the sperm. When 16. So number 7. Number 7. Kicking and screaming. Practice what you preach.
Yes.
Practice makes perfect.
Number 7 needs to practice what they preach.
I'm a perfectionist.
Yes.
Abantu abafuna izinto zibe.
Yes.
Hey, ushumalika uye impela loyo, utshebe lo uye. Number 7. Mthembu wena. Number 6 wena. Abo 6 yilaba bangafunga ungafa. Hey. Ntombi number bani wena? I-date yakho ilanga 14 or number 5.
Number 5. Number 5 yilaba usually they find themselves lost. They don't know where they are coming or they're going. And the reason is 5 is the hardest number to understand. 5 is the hardest number to understand because ugcwele yonke indawo. Number 5, yes. Number 5 is what we call the beauty in the chaos. The order in the disorder. Basically. Right. So number 5. Number 5 is how we got, in actual fact, I'm going to show them how great they are without knowing. Number 5 is how we got the word unkulunkulu. Because yes.
Go back.
Right. Number 5 is how we got the word unkulunkulu because of number 5 ugcwele yonke indawo mkhulu uyanaba basically. Umnabi if kukhona ke igama elinjalo ezulwini. Right. How do we do this? How can we prove this? Physiologically, or physically rather, number 5 is what is that number that is represented by your heart. So your heart is an organ of movement because it's always moving.
Always vibrating.
Always people say number 5 is not the heart. There's a new thing. Number 5 is not the pump. The heart is not the pump, but it's the only one that really moves. And I don't know. But anyway, it's the thing that then extends itself to all the extremities of the body. And therefore, number 5, uyanaba, is all over the place, which is why they are also physically all over the place. Mabefundile, bafunda into eziningi. Uma nakho.
Washo ekhanda.
Esikoleni, ubathola abafana benza rugby, swimming, athletics, whatever, they are everywhere. Chairs, choir, whatever. They are everywhere. They're all over the place. About number 5. And so, number 5 is the hardest number for them to find what their mandate is because they are everywhere and they don't know who they are by virtue of the fact that they don't know kulezi zinto eziyi-5 engigudu kuzo. Yiphi engiyifundele, yiphi engizenze esikoleni, yiphi amathalente wami, yiphi. Because sifundiswe wrong thina ukuthi wonke umuntu kumele abe yi-doctor. We forget that we can't forget it asingayifundiswanga. We were not taught ukuthi number 5 these are the special ones. 5, 14, 23. These are the special ones. If all the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 are fruit trees that bear individually, a different fruit from the other. Number 5 bears all the fruits.
How Dombi?
Yes.
But now the beauty of that chaos is they are the ones that society needs for transformation.
Of course.
Otherwise, we are all going to be stagnant. Otherwise, we're all going to be stuck in a past we don't want to be anymore.
Of course. How they do this is when they're the last ones with bayithole. Uma sebeyitholile ke laba, it is the most beautiful thing.
Because number 5 is in the middle.
Yes.
There's 4 on this side, there's 4 on this side.
Yes. So number 5, this is why ephethe wonke amathalente wawo wonke amanamba. Number 5 uphethe
abothatha zonke.
Yes. So ingakho engazazi because kudingeka azi ukuthi inhliziyo idinge ukwazi ukuthi ushukela udinge engqondweni, igazi lidingeka engqondweni, ama vitamins. There's a lot of knowledge about number 5. And
unomthwalo Ntombi. Bafo wena unumber bani? Number 3. Awuthi sizwe.
Number 3 yilabo abathanda ke ukuhleka kakhulu.
Nangu ashwehleka.
Right. So, number 3, as much as we have 9 numbers, angithi shilo, plus the zeros ngamfaka because is a number now with 10 numbers basically. As much, but asimsusa kancane uzero. As much as we have 9 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I would say numbers start kahle kahle ku-3. Numbers start kahle kahle ku-3. Yingakho eBhayibhelini u3 engaka Nkosi yami.
yiko okahle kahle isibalo siqala ngesithathu.
Number 1 is a singular number. Number 2 is a singular number. The first dualistic number is the number 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all dualistic. Number 9 is double dualistic. Right. So number 3.
Yezo double dualistic.
Number 3 is that number that if we don't learn from number 3, sonke, we will not know what we are here to do. Even number 1 and number 2 learns from number 3. But the beauty about numbers, I hear abantu be numerology khuluma ngokuthi there are negative numbers, there are opposite numbers. There are no opposite numbers. Everything is one, basically. And idinga ukuthi uyazi inamba ozalwe ngayo because ine gift yakho inamba, ine mandate yakho inamba. So kumele wenze something as umuntu ozalwe ngeleyo number. Thisenze example ngo number 3. Number 3, they can be very childish because the number 3 comes from the sperm and the egg. Well, not childish, gay, childlike. So basically, what happens is this. Number 3 is that number that has one of the heaviest mandates, basically, because number 3, as much as a tanduklega, as much as a childish, as much as the point of you being childish is to learn from it. I think, Mina, the most beautiful and the most important verse eBhayibhelini. Funda engane. There is nothing else. The first thing you must do in life is to look at the child. Funda enganeni. Umntwana ma umshaya uza kuwena back to. Uyakhala akhalele kona la. What does the child teach you? The child teaches you that where she finds pain is where she finds comfort. The pain is the comfort. When you have failed that, you have failed everything about understanding who you are.
Ingqeqesho ayimbulala umntwana.
Iyamaka. So lento yethu le eyokuthi
Ndoda, qhubeka ube childish yezo.
So this thing yokuthatha izinto zabelungu yokuthi hey, punishment is no, there's nothing like that. Umntwana uyaqhuzwa. Because let me show you another way umntwana uqhuzwa ngakhona. Kunalapha neBhayibhelini ekuthi ekuthiwa kukhona usisi owaye pregnant ngesimusho ngegama, bathi ke abaza kuyena bazomtshela ukuthi wena uzozala abafana ababili. Kodwa uma sebekhula bazoba healthy 100%, kodwa omncane, the younger, will rule over the older. Right. When we look at that, because iBhayibheli asilifundiswanga spiritually, when we look at that, omdala ubani, that's the real Abba. Not the physical one, because uyo papayo, uyo kumela kuzo, uye ingane. So iyakhuzwa ingane kanjani. Fasting is another way. Because ingane ithanda uthandani ufuna amaswiti, uma seyikhula ifuna ubhiya, ifuna ama-ribs, ifuna yonke into, kanti sometimes you need ukukhuza ingane so that the spiritual you can take the driver's seat.
Ingane phela thina sithi hayi kwakumawele le ingane. Angibasho njalo abafundisi. Kodwa umunye waphume umlungu, umunye waphuma ngenye indlela.
Right.
Asingayingeni le politics.
Eish. Singayingena kodwa imnandi kakhulu ke yona. It's when you understand what the Bible was saying, basically, because uEsau waye bovana. Nangu munye waye right.
Yeah.
So basically
waye right yena.
Ngizoyisho kanjalo ngoba ngifuna ukuthi give away the thing yet. The thing we need to understand is uEsau no Jacobe. Ukuthi, what do they represent, basically? Esau represents the oil that you create. Both of them, yes. In the right hemisphere, there's an oil that is created by something called a claustrum, the right hemisphere of your brain. The claustrum is where you get Santa Claus from, basically. Right? Iyahlake le oil ifike la.
Nithatha phi le ndoda bakwethu le.
Iyahlake le oil. The oil is representing what we know as Jesus, Jacob, ubani umfana ka Jacob elasborn, Benjamin, Noah, Adam, no Eva. All those stories are the same stories. I can prove it to you today, right here, right now. Right.
Malika. Hayi mina ningivalile ekhoneni bakwethu.
Right. So what happens here is this oil, it comes out of the claustrum. It is secreted. It is called Christos, this oil. This is why uJesu has the other term, which is Christ. And this is why also the Messiah of the Hindu is Hari Krishna. We are Krishna. So the Christ is that oil that comes down, and when it's secreted outside of the thing, when it comes out, it enters into a tube and a cerebrospinal fluid, which is water-based. This is why Jesus walks on water, because oil always is above amanzi. Right. This is why uMoses umezalwa ulethwe ngebasket, because ibasket liflota kuphi phezu kwamanzi. Right. Ifike le oil izalwa ibumbene, the negative and the positive together. Ifike to the pineal gland, igcobise ipineal gland, ichichimise ugcobisa ikhanda lami ngamafutha. That's where that verse comes from. Right. And then because the pineal gland is shaped almost like your head. Therefore, what then happens is the pineal gland must say thola le oil. The oil, it is stolen by the pituitary gland, the female gland. The pituitary gland is the blue gland. The other one, the pineal gland, is the red gland, basically. The red is the positive, the blue is the negative, basically. So
Sesku-matrix ke manje.
Sesku-matrix, all
Umorpheus ke
right.
manje,
That is it, basically.
Red pill, blue pill.
Red pill, blue
Wena
pill.
ubukela ama-movie wena umthetho wakho.
So what then happens? The oil then stays in the pituitary gland, the mother gland, for 3 days, and it dies in there. When it dies in there, after 3 days, it wakes up, and when the pituitary gland secretes serotonin, it breaks into two, the female and the male. Now the red and the blue. Uma ezalwa uzalwe ebovu omunye uyo waphuma kuqala. Right?
Yeke. Ngiyakukhuza.
Right.
Ngiyakukhuza.
Cha siqhubeke.
Ungaqhubeki. Ngiyakukhuza.
Okay.
Ngiyakukhuza. Khuzeka.
Okay.
Angithi ngifuna ngiyakukhuza.
Asingene kule number 3.
Asibuyele ku number 4 manje. Angeke. Uthi melatonin ne-serotonin u-Esau noJacob.
No. The secretion in melatonin is the white secretion that is milky.
Thul.
Cha ngiyala ufuna khona.
Ukhuzile.
Ngiyala ufuna khona. And the gold is what we call melatonin, which is where iBhayibheli malikhuluma the land of milk and honey. That is it.
Ngiyakukhuza.
Right.
Ngiyakukhuza. Dlamini besithe sikhuluma ngamanamba la.
Siyakhona. All of this thing is okay. Sorry ungena emlonyeni. Ngiyaxolisa ungangishayi.
Hey. Ya angisazi phela mina ngithini manje. Ngoba manje sikhulume ngamanamba la. Sathi u0 is the origins of all.
Yes.
Sathi u1 yilaba kumele bona bathatha leadership, kumele bazama mandate wabo odlamini kanje. Ikwathanda ibhola kanje. Uyicaptain vele eteamini yakho ndoda. Ora soze ube icaptain wena uyinkomo. Odlamini kumele bazama mandate. O number 2 bona benzani?
Okay, asingeneke ko number 2. Or number 2, these are the calm ones. These are the relaxed ones.
abo laid back.
These are the yiba bathanda ukuthi uma kunengxabano kusolveke somehow
Ayihlangane.
kube ne resolution sihlanganeni siboneni ukuthi singenzani. Then number 2, these are the ones that are the healers also. Kakhulukazi basebenzisa amanzi ke to heal. If they get to understand and know this thing about themselves, basically. So these are the healers. They use amanzi to heal, and they also use their hands to heal. Right. Number 3, these are the thinkers. Number 3 represents the left hemisphere of the cerebrum. Right. These are the logical ones. Yilaba benza sense. They are impatient mongenzi sense. So these are the ones, because we live
number 3.
Yeah, we live in a world.
Ujabule.
It's the opposite. Number 9.
Oh,
yes.
Asibuye.
Yes.
Number 9 uthi double dose phela.
Yeah, double dose number 9. Number 9 is the left hemisphere. Number 3 is the right hemisphere. So ngena ukuthi number 6 ukuphi. Number 9, this is what we call the waters of the fish of the sea, and this is the birds of the air. So ayisizoyingena mawuyifuna, but as hambe. Ngifuna ukubonisa lento ukuthi it's one thing 100%. Number 3 tends to be very judgmental. Uma emlahlile umntwana engafundanga kuyena. Ziningi ke izinto umuntu azifunda enganeni, hayi nje ukuthi where you find your pain is where you find your comfort. So when you, because uma sikhula we are like bazothini ngiyi-childish angiyifuni lento, so we tend to sideline the child, simlahla singakafundi kuyena. We have lost everything.
You've lost it all.
Everything. Wangafunda enganeni, like the sands to the hourglass.
So are the days of our lives. Washo ukhuluma lambule indlovu ezilekhaya ngoba zisulumele usi. Hey, umfowethu Alison wathi such is life without a pocket knife to cut matters short. Kule mfowethu.
Number 4, singadlula number 4.
Asiye.
Right. Number 4. What a powerful number, because I mean, you should 3 is less powerful. No,
all these numbers are powerful.
Oh my God.
Every number he's going to get to I'm excited. So Agashuguti, the previous one is less exciting.
Yes.
It's just that it's this new number now. I'm excited. All these numbers are special and powerful in their own way.
Yes. Number 4, and it's the saddest thing. Because number 4, these are the keepers of time. This is how we know what history is, because of them. Number 4, 4, 18, 22, 31, born. Right. So
4, 13, 22, 31.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Ngazibani ozalwa nge-31 Nkosi yami. Nge-4, nge-13, nge-22. Hey, hayi ukhona engimaziyo we-22.
Right. So bayashiyana ke, because number 4 huye the real 4. Laba 4 abane background uzoba 22 uzoba 4 ene background ka 2 no 2. Omunye uzoba 4 ene background ka 1 no 3 and so on and so forth. So they will have different traits, but ultimately these are the keepers of time. These are the historians. Yingakho bakwazi ukubamba amagqubu, because abakhohlwa. Right. Uma bebambe lamagqubu, they can bayakwazi ukuzifaka ejele. This is why baphupha ngalo ijele, because bazibophile ngale grudge. Bazibophile ngale unforgiveness, basically. Right. Baphupha ngamaphoyisa, baphupha nge-law enforcement, something of that nje. Yeah, ukuba sejele or shaya igqivizo lapha, whatever. So basically these things are there as a window to tell you ukuthi usuzibophile. There are a warning ukuthi phuma lapho. Right.
So uzibophile.
Yes. Or number 4 bese bathi badlisiwe kanti cha. Abadliswanga. Bazilimazile. When ukhuluma intembi, you are feeding ispirit sakho ngomoya omubi. So it's food basically.
Sure.
Number 4 is ruling what we call the intestines, which is why when they get sick, they have digestive problems. Bafana no number 2. Number 2 is sisu. Abo number 2, they can have diarrhea, constipation, leaky gut, A, B, C, and D, and F, G, A, I, J, K. Right.
Like when ama number,
then
ungavula isibhedlela sama number.
Of course. We can heal people using ama number. This is why autism is the biggest disease now, because it can't swing. Because everyone born from year 2000 will have a 2 in their birthday and will have a problem nesisu.
Hey, awuthi ndlebe yami nayiyaduma.
Everyone.
Yiko ama 2000 aso.
Yikho kunje.
Madoda. Nizwile ama 2000 banale nkinga ka2.
Banale nkinga ka2. So basically, aksi abazenzi. So all of these numbers are trying to show you ukuthi inkinga ongaba nayo.
Nkosi yamakhosi for the next 1000 years phela.
Yes.
Uyoshintsha nini u2 abe u3.
So can you imagine umntwana ozozalwa ngo the year 2222?
Sonke thina dlamini bama 1 phambili. Sama leader, ama pioneer, abanye sigebengu sisejele siyaboshwa, abanye siqala ama business siyafohla thina no one. Ama 2000 mabeshana ntombi uyangiqoba umamela idate yakho la nawe. Ama 2000 for the next 1000 years nkosi yami.
Of course.
So shama autism, ama bipolar, ama schizophrenia, nkosi yama depression.
Now, not only do they know this about number 2, right? Number 11 represents that which angithi ngishile ekuqaleni ukuthi number 3 represents your left brain or your left hemisphere. Number 9 is your right hemisphere. Number 11 represents both of them at the same time. Number 11 mom edagabi u2. Why? Also, kune symbiosis between 11 no 2 because kunento eziphuma la ekhanda under your brain called the 12 cranial nerves. Yilento esiyibiza. So it's
ungayilapha.
Oh,
ngikhuzile wena.
Man.
Unjani kanti ushabangu?
Okay, sharp.
So ufuna ukuthi yeah, qhubeka.
Yeah. Z24
glands.
Yeah, kodwa is 2 pairs.
Maziphelele.
Yeah, umaziphelele Z24. So these nerves communicate
through the endocrine system.
No, khona iya direct eswini ebiza ngevagus nerve.
Okay, the vagus.
So zikhuluma nesisu nengqondo. U11 ukhuluma no2. So u2 ukhuluma no2 in a way if you want. So basically
u2 no2
u2 no2 11 yeah u1 no 1 no2. So basically abantwana bazoba also nenkinga yala kahle because u11 even though u11 is a master number we don't add 1 plus 1 but unento ka2 whether we like it or not
unale trait.
So the disease ezamanje zidla ziseswini nasekhanda and these people know this information for the next 1000 years. So autism idila ngani ngesisu
ashintshe ni date angeke angithi ne date yenziwa umuntu nathi siyayishintsha from now on bakwethu is 3025 angeke yini igulo zika 3 nazo hayi sengiyasaba hayi
yonke into ineyigulo zayo
okay asiyeni ku 0 bakwethu 0 akanasigulu
akanasigulu
all right u0025 unyaka manje for the next 1000 years bakwethu iko abantu bangezwa amakhanda aqinile.
Yes, and manje u0 as long ufaka u2 as long ufaka u0 eceleni
uyayimosha
unenkani
uyayimosha.
This is why benje
uyayimosha ngoba uphikela kwinto angayazi nayo.
Of course
it's ilento bathi ama rebel without a cause.
sometimes abanye uma bekhula they gain this causality or this thing that gives them a cause, because number 2 is the number of information. Why? Because food is information,
information.
basically. So it is
software
is-
oprogram umzimba wakho
yes,
ngayo.
it is where food has its meetings, basically. So what then happens is that number 20 or 2 plus a 0, this is why the age of Aquarius, bona bathi bayasirobha ngesikhathi but bayayi-aligna lento, because Aquarius is the age of information. Bona bebethi bayasirobha ngoku-eda 1,000 years to kanti bayayi-aligna kahle kahle.
Bayayibuyisa.
This is why ngo-year 2000 mawukhumbula we had butterflies, because we were transitioning from Pisces into, because the butterfly is all about change. That is it. So uma uphupha ngama-butterfly, now you know what you must do,
Change.
basically. Right. Yeah, it is change. Bengizoya kwenye indawo. Right. This is why in 2020 also we saw butterflies from a Kimberley or all over Joburg up until Mozambique. Change as well. I don't know about what other countries experienced. But also a butterfly is transitioning from one phase to another, but ushering in more information, basically. So number 2 is a number of information. Therefore, we are in the right time for number 2, as per what they say we are in terms of the age of Aquarius, because this is the age of information, and that is it, ruled by number 2. This is why u2 ono 0 enenkani ene uma negative kugcina yena ngeke
Noma
umtshele
sekubheda.
noma sekubheda noma uyabona ukuthi hayi la ingidlile kugcina yena.
Hey, hayi hey, asiye ubani unumber esingayikhulumanga, number 8. Yeah, u8 yena.
Unumber 8 yile number le ene trauma kakhulu. Abo number 8 mangibanika ama reading ngiyaye ngisondele nganeno, because phakathi kwe trauma, you especially abantu besimame, kune rape, kune whatever, you don't want to papa uma unika labo bantu I trauma I reading. So usually there is a trauma, and the reason why there is a trauma is because, and this I'm going to give away for free, is because abo number 8 banesiphiwo sokuthi abantu eyihlelele nje umuntu ebus stop emsebenzini, abantu baze kubona bazobatshela ngama problems wabo. So when that happens, your trauma puts you in the right spot, because you would have learned from your trauma, just like I learned from my trauma no baba. Now I can be able to say, I've been there, done that. Right? But there's a way to do it nakhona, because umuntu mayiza kimi akumelanga ngimtshele ngendlela ngokuthi kwenzakaleni kimi bese ngimtshela ngokuthi ngiyenzani mina. Yebo kwenzakaleni kimi bese leyo kwenzakalani or ukuthi ngiyinqobe kanjani lento ngiyayibamba.
Akube experience yakhe.
Yes, because sometimes abantu bacabanga ukuthi uyabachomela, they come to you from a space la benqunu khona benganalutho. Usodlulile wena lapho. Kuba ngathi ubatshela ukuthi
tough enough.
Yeah, you know. So there's always a way as well. So abo number 8, they are in the right spot to help those people with their traumas.
Because they went through it, they can also help others through it.
Yes. This is why zonke lezi numbers zinento zazo. Abazalwe ngeyi7 ke, they lose their loved ones, they lose their monies, and therefore anything that relates to monies, property, whatever,
so
whatever.
They experience a lot of loss.
A lot of loss, including when it comes to their loved ones.
Yeah.
Basically. Why? Number 7 is the number of wealth. When you lose your loved ones, you have lost your wealth, basically. Uma kuhambe ugogo, leyo history isekho. Uma kuhambe imali zakho, that's wealth. Uma kuhambe your health, that is wealth as well, basically. So number 7 is a number of wealth. These they go through shame. I know because I've been there. I mean, I've lost all of those things. And life is there just to say to you, this is a lesson you must learn from. But because we have the illusion of separation and we hold on to things, we don't know how to deal with these numbers. What are they saying to me? What are they saying to you?
Illusion of separation.
Yes, basically. So when we are in that, I guess it number 8, mhlawumbe uzalwe nge-18, zi-3 lezi number. So eyokuqala is what we call a compass number. A compass number yini. Njobuthi uzalwe ngengaki. That's the only number we use. The life path number is birthday, month, and year, all added together. So that's your life path. Then ukhona enye inumber oqhumana uma ubhilivela kuNkulunkulu uqhumana noNkulunkulu ngayo noma uma ubhilivela ebantwini abaphansi
which is basically the same thing.
It's the same thing. But it's we are fighting against one eventuality. Man.
We are smart in our stupidity.
It saddens me. So basically, then what happens when Aputomdala is every number needs you to do something. So you must know what number 7, 8, 9 requires you. Oh, number 9, niggas, kulmanga ngabo. Ayinkana isukumphansi khohlwa. Skepe tosh over kilikiti he. Yes. Inkani.
Ize indlela ehlakazelo le. Ithi-ke laba bo number 9.
Inkani ayisukumphansi kodwa ke usually
seniyazwisisa ke bakuthi ukuthi ibuyaphi lenkani unumber 9
kodwa ke unumber 9 nayo kumele afunde isifundo Bhutomdala because inkani is what we call ilahle. Unumber 9 imele lithathe leli lahle and find a way to change the coal into the diamond. Find the diamond in the rough. When you change inkani into the diamond, we now call it resilience. Unumber 9 uhlangabezana neyinkinga complicated eziningi elifeni.
True.
So the resilience is there so that inkani ungayisebenzisela umuntu ngaphandle uyisebenzisela wena. Fill in your cup first. Know what it feels like ukuzinqanda wena before uyonqanda uvusi unyakalo what. So basically all these numbers say zibheke qala. U5 usually gets bored very quickly. So kumele azibheke ukuthi akusuwobhorayo.
Yazo Ntombi, ungale ukuthi siyabhora la. Uwe lo bhorayo, uyashesha ukubhoreka.
So number 5 bayashesha ukubhoreka but bayakhohlwa ukuthi even boredom can come from them. Maybe yiba babhorayo. So they always look for yingakho yonke into ifihla ke ifihlwe kuthina but sifuna ngaphandle.
Oh Nkosi yamakhosi.
So you want to fix
thathapi lo muntu. Mntana kaBhele. It is 30 break. It is 30 break shabangu. So uyasishabanga manje so zifuna zonke inkomo zakithi. Lalela la. 1, know your purpose. 2, look within yourself and find that information but don't fall into a depression. 3, sijabulise man. Take that information and make us all happy. 4, hey, Nkosi yamakhosi. Ungayenzi leyo nto. Watch yourself. All these numbers have a significance to each and every one of us. And sizothatha break manje. Ngisayocabanga nami ngamanamba. Ngisayocalculate. Give thanks.